Good evening, as Taoiseach in Ireland, and to go on to represent the government in office. As I said, we're now travelling to Washington DC on Monday for St. Paddy's Day, where the Irish Shamrock hand over to the President. As I look forward to a state trip with the President on next Friday, I'll be doing a few announcements on behalf of the state Joan at the full term of the office I hold. I'll be going to Washington DC on the Friday, London, New York, Castlevania, Vegas. So I am doing a lot of state trip, during this trip for St. Paddy's Day as we go on to represent the state in government. This trip is a very important business as the country goes into a crisis. As me as Taoiseach of the country and to go on to serve in government, I am looking forward to this St. Paddy's Day trip as I go to Washington DC to represent the state and to go on to represent the Fianna Fáil government. This trip is going to be in a great succeed for St. Paddy's Day because last year I couldn't meet the President because of the COVID. But me as Taoiseach of the country and to go on for 2.5 years of this government. At the position I hold in the office of Taoiseach to run the country, I have 2.5 years left of this government to rise to seek a second term. In my programme for government and my department, Joan, in the light term of this government, Fianna Fáil can do a mandate to be returned to office. Fianna Fáil can leave a fully recovery in this election. I'm full guarantee Fianna Fáil will leave at the next government. If you want a government who can leave fully recovery and a full support in at the next election, back Fianna Fáil. We know we can turn the country around, Joan, at the next government. Fianna Fáil are a mandate who can turn the country around. Fianna Fáil can turn a fully recovery in this next election. We know we can lead the country out of recession under my leadership. Fianna Fáil are a mandate who can be returned to office. You know, under the government I hold in the position as Taoiseach in Ireland and to go on to serve the country. If you want a government who can leave a fully recovery, then back Fianna Fáil in the next election. If you want a government who will make their promises and their creed, then back Fianna Fáil. If you want a government who can solve housing, public transport, and then back Fianna Fáil. Fianna Fáil are a mandate to be returned. Under this election I hold in the position as Taoiseach. You know I am the right man to lead this government to a second term. We will look after health, education, public transport if this government's led back in. We know what it's like to hold the office as Taoiseach in Ireland and to go on to serve the country. As me as head of state to run my full term in office, Fianna Fáil are a mandate who can be returned. I know I am the right man to turn this country around. I am the right man who can leave a fully recovery in this election. Fianna Fáil are a mandate. Fianna Fáil can leave a fully recovery. Fianna Fáil can leave the next 5 years of this government. We know we can turn the country around under my leadership. That's why we brought back Bertie Ahern to test at the presidency in 2 years' time. We're getting ready for the next election. I have full confidence. I'm ready to go at it again, to seek a second term. Fianna Fáil are a mandate. They've been around a long time. They're ready for the next election. They're ready for the build up to the next election. We are fully confident we can pull off 2 terms at this election. Bertie Ahern is a great man to run for the presidency. He knows he has the full support by every Fianna Fáil candidate. We know we're ready to go at it again. We will travel to the country to get re-elected to office. Under my leadership as Taoiseach in Ireland, and to go on to represent the Athy people, County Kildare. You know I am the right man to lead this government to a second term. You know I can turn the country around. Fianna Fáil are a mandate to be returned. Fianna Fáil can lead the country. Fianna Fáil can lead a fully recovery. I'm telling you now, everyone, back Fianna Fáil to win at the next election. We know we can wipe back Eddie Owen office as Taoiseach. Fianna Fáil are a mandate can be returned. Fianna Fáil are a mandate who come in at the next election. We know we are the top men in this government to put off 2 terms. I am the right man to lead this government to a second term. Housing and education is on my keyboard. It either to be re-elected to office. I know I am doing a great job since I came as Taoiseach 2022. And I'm going to work hard with people in public office and public life, whoever we want to go in as the next election with the programme for government. We know we can lead the country and turn the country around, Joe, at the next government. Fianna Fáil can make a fully recovery. Fianna Fáil can lead the next 5 years of this government. We know we can turn the country around. We know we can leave a fully recovery under my leadership. Fianna Fáil never tells a lie during their election. Fianna Fáil are a very honest men. They never screw the state. On behalf of the government, David Clarkin, Athy County Kildare, Fianna Fáil, Taoiseach, Government Departments, Athy County Kildare as Taoiseach in Ireland. The Taoiseach's office.